subsidies. I must confess that I am surprised by the way words are used by experts on this matter. When a benefit is given to farmers or to poor, experts and government officers normally call it a subsidy. However, I find that if a benefit is given to industry or commerce, it is usually called an incentive or a subvention. We must ask ourselves whether this difference in language also reflects the difference in our attitude. Why is it that subsidies? Why is it that subsidies going to the well-off are portrayed in a positive manner? Let me give you an example. The total revenue loss from incentives to corporate taxpayers was over rupees 62,000 crores. Dividends and long-term capital gains on shares trade in stock exchanges are totally exempt from income tax, even though it is not the poor who earn them. Since it is exempt, it is not even counted in the rupees 62,000 crores. Double taxation avoidance treaties have in some cases resulted in double non-taxation. This also is not counted in the rupees 62,000 crores. Yet, these are rarely referred to by those who seek reduction of subsidies. Perhaps these are seen as incentive for investment. I wonder whether if the fertilizer subsidy is renamed as incentive for agriculture production. Some experts will view it differently. I'm not arguing that all subsidies are good. My point is that there cannot be any ideological position on such matters. We have to eliminate bad subsidies, whether or not they are called subsidies. But some subsidies may be necessary to protect the poor and the needy and given them a fair chance to succeed. Hence, my aim is not to eliminate subsidies, but to rationalize and target them. In 19 months, much has been achieved. Much more is expected of us. And these are challenges ahead. Yet, I'm now confident that we can successfully go forward, that we can successfully go faster, and that we can do so in a way that will benefit the common people. When the people of nation make up their minds to go forward, and when the power of the people is with us, hard challenges become huge opportunities. This confidence of mine is not formed in a vacuum, but founded on my experience over the last 19 months. We inherited a struggling economy just recovering from a currency crisis. In less than 2 years, we have taken India to the top of the global league tables of foreign investment and growth. Friends, we have a long way to go, but I feel ours is a journey well begun. Like all journeys, there may be obstacles on the way, but I'm confident we will reach our destination. We have created a platform for a new future and for a new India. An India where every child is born safely and maternal and infant mortality are below world averages. An India where no person is houseless. An India where every town and every village, every school and every train, every street and every house are clean and sanitary. An India where every citizen have access to good health care. An India where every village has 24 by 7 electricity. An India where every city is vibrant and livable. An India where girls are educated and empowered. An India where every boy and every girl is skilled and ready for productive employment. An India where agriculture, industry and services provide well-paying jobs to all who need them. An India where farmers know the nature of their soil, have the best inputs in reach global levels of productivity. An India where enterprises, large and small, have access to capital and credit. An India where startups and other businesses provide innovative solutions. An India which is the forefront of a global digital economy. An India which leads the world in clean energy. An India where every citizen has basic social security and a pension in old age. An India where citizens trust government and are trusted by government. And above all, a transformed India where all citizens have the opportunity to reach their full potential. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.